this is a luggage system I decided to go with. It's made by a company called Villain2Hero. They spent a lot of time in the past pretty much copying the old FXRP police boxes and fitting them to big twins. Recently they've come up with a system, a little bit smaller system, but they have the same general style, except they're using Pelican cases and they're building it for the Pan America. The way their systems are designed, it's kind of like the old FXRP boxes where they have a cage around the boxes themselves to protect them in the event of a fall, and they stick the boxes in the middle. In the case of the Pan America, they went with Pelican cases instead of the fiberglass cases for the bigger bike. Pan America is a smaller bike, so its setup works pretty good. Pelican cases are good and sturdy. My years of combat camera, that's what we use to ship our camera gear and video gear all over the world. It protected it good. It'll do the same on the back of a bike. On the side they use Pelican vault cases. They're kind of a good long tall thing. These are just the straight up Pelican cases. They even have the carry handles on them. They're permanently mounted into the rack, so you're not going to be pulling them out and walking with you. Suppose you could use these as a tie down if you got a bag running across it or something, but they just sit there. You can put locks on there if you're leaving the bike somewhere. I don't know about driving down the road with them. They latch in the front, open up towards the back. Inside the lid they got a rubber ring all the way around it. So when it's shut and latched, it's waterproof. Top case is pretty much the same. It's a Pelican. In this case it's a Storm case 2275. It's a double latch instead of a single latch. Still has a place to put locks on it if you want. 2 latches, pop it open. It also has the rubber seal all the way around it. Keep it waterproof. This has a handle too, but can't quite go up, so this handle is just there. It's not worth taking off. It doesn't really hurt anything, just leave it there. Cases are bolted in place, so you're not going to use it as luggage. In case you're wondering what this thing is, that's an air release. If you were to put this checked baggage in a aircraft, when it's in the luggage section, when they decompress the plane, a little bit of air will leak out. These are airtight enough and it would make a pretty good vacuum. Pop this open, that'll release the vacuum and you can open it up normal. Okay, left side bolts up nice and close. Fits in, not a whole lot of extra stuff sitting out there. There is a gap in the tubes right here. I think that's a good thing. That gives you room to mount extra accessories or things like that. You know, like if you want to bring an extra day bag or something, that gives you a good solid steel point to strap it to. Now the right side is a little bit further away because they want to clear the muffler. It's actually not that uncommon on adventure bike luggage. Sometimes they make the right side bag smaller, sometimes they make them both the same size and just space it out. There's a gap in here. Thinking I got a great big solid empty space here. I'm gonna figure out what to mount there. Might be a good place to put tool stuff. Might be a good place just to put some kind of storage that it isn't gonna matter if it gets cooked by the muffler and I'm not gonna use that much. One thing I really do like about these cases, if this bike is laying on its side, the weight is all the way over here. The weight is not on this. I can just reach in, open them up, get whatever I need out, just pull everything out to lighten it up if that's what I need to do, get any tools, proceed from there. Now normally I wouldn't bother you with the way it mounts up, but Seeing as mine came without instructions and there's no instructions on the website about how to install it, thought I'd give you a quick overview of the whole thing. I made a little bit of mistakes here or there, but I figured it out. It isn't that terribly difficult. They do give you all the stuff you need. However, this front bolt here, you're supposed to reuse the original one. After I Loctited all the bolts down, I figured that out, so I had to get a couple of extra bolts down at the hardware store. No big deal. Okay, the way it mounts up for the back cases, got one mount there, this bracket here, that goes behind there. This mounts straight up here. You reuse the bolt, put it straight there. I wasn't quite sure about that. It looked like there may have been a little bit of torque, so I went ahead and I put a spacer behind there that's about the same thickness. That way I know I don't have any twisting torque on this, because I use all my bikes pretty hard. Now on the rear, the brackets come in from the bottom and bolt up. That's exactly opposite of the way the brackets are that I had on the bike before. The Harley ones I showed you way back when. Those go on the top and go down. These go on the bottom and go up. If you try to put it on the top, it's not going to fit, and it's going to look like you need to cut a chunk out of this. I shot a quick email to them, and they emailed me right back saying that don't cut anything. You don't need to cut anything to mount it. And they were right. Right side's pretty similar with one notable exception. Because this whole thing is out further, they give you a little spacer here to space it out to make it match. You know, once again, I went ahead and added a shim because with this plate here, it put that out. I wanted to put that out and make it even. It seems to be a solid mount, just looks a little bit strange to me. Rear case is very straightforward. They just bolt into the 4 spots where the Harley bags actually were, straight down. You got to wiggle the bar a little bit to get it around this, but it'll fit, no problem at all. Okay, now when I installed them, there's a couple of modifications I did just for my own peace of mind. They might be overkill, but I run my bikes hard, so I like going that extra little step. Now, the Pelican cases come pre-drilled for the 3 bolts that hold them. Evidently, if you want them to open the other direction, you can ride them when you're placing the order, and they'll just drill the holes on the other side for you. I just kept them the standard way myself. Now they provide you standard size washers and everything, but the way these things clamp down, I like to have a bigger washer. So what I did is I went out and I bought a whole new set of stainless steel fender washers. They're a lot wider than the standard ones. Also, because the Pelican case is waterproof, but there's some holes drilled in it. When I decided to mount it, I went ahead and grabbed some black gasket sealant and sandwiched it in there. That way I know water's not going to get up in here. Might be overkill. The other way is probably good enough, but why take that chance? The back case is held in with 4 bolts. Once again, it comes pre-drilled, fit fine, mashed up good. You do have the option of having it open the other direction if you want. You just let them know. They'll drill it any way you want. Now I use the extra bolts in the front instead of reusing them, so I wound up short. And the back, once again, I use stainless steel fender washers on top of black gasket makers. Good solid seal. I know these things are waterproof. I mentioned in the earlier that I use the extra bolts on the front, so I needed to get 2 bolts for the back. What I decided to do is get 4 carriage bolts for the back. That way they have a nice smooth outer side there. They're not going to get hung up on branches or anything when I start taking this thing in the woods and whatnot. Carriage bolts are a little bit of a pain to get started, but once they're in there, they go good. One other thing I need to do So I need to go back in, and I need to add shims to all the mounting things there. Take a look. These things are just barely touching each other. I don't want them touching. I want a gap in there. So I'm going to stick maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch shim all the way around. That's going to push the whole bag out a little bit, still within here. And that'll just give me that air gap I prefer to have. Actually run a little bit with it touching it. It doesn't seem to affect the case at all. Gives it kind of a weird hollow noise. That'll change when I fill it up, but I just don't like them touching. The big question of these are, how are they on the highway? I have put 2,500 miles on them. I had these installed when I rode up from Missouri for the Missouri rally. I ran the rally, and when I ran the 1,100 miles home. Quite a bit of time on the freeway. These things actually make the bike ride a little bit better. I think what it is the resistance back here kind of moves the center of pressure a little bit further back. And before, if you let go of the handlebars, the bike kind of wanders a whole lot. These back here, it kind of stabilizes it out a little bit. If you have both hands off the handlebars for a minute, like if you're tightening a glove or putting a glove back on real fast, it tends to track pretty straight. Doesn't seem to catch your crosswinds, but then again, these are smaller than the standard ones, so they're not going to catch as much. If you need a lot of luggage, these might not be for you. But if you want really tough boxes, give you lots of little grab points, you're going to go off-road a lot and fall down, these may be what you want. Now, if you're going to do the really heavy off-road stuff, you might be better served the way I was set up before, with the soft bags on top of the hard racks. And actually, Giant Loop has flat plates now that'll hook onto those, but still let you have the soft bags. I can go back and forth either way, but when I run the Hoka Hay, when I run the Iron Butt Rally, I'm going to be set up just like this. It's it for now. Be safe out there.